Welcome to the Average Nobody's Podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Average Nobody's Podcast. My name is Matt Vieira, and here with me is
Ryan Fogarty, live and in charge through the beautiful interwebs. Technology is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It really is a wonderful thing. Skype is amazing for the most part.
I use it at work. Not video, just like the chat feature.
Yeah.
It's pretty, because I work in two separate buildings, so it's pretty it's a good way to communicate with each other.
Is that how you guys communicate with like other people on your team and like other people at Colette?
Yeah, so like I'll be on a call and I might need to speak to someone in a different department. I can just like Skype, text them or Skype chat them. Oh. It works pretty well. I like it. Actually, it's a pretty good feature.
There's like at Save the Bay, there's like a scattered bunch of ways that people communicate. Most of the time, people just come right up to your desk because it's such a small place, which is most of the time less than ideal. But there's like G Chat, and then we try to get people on board to download Slack. I don't know if you ever used that.
No.
I mean, it's Gmail. It's GChat, essentially, but you have to download another app. So there's that, and then there's email. There's a bunch of ways to get in touch with people that are all in the same room, basically within, like, 50 feet of each other. So it's interesting.
It doesn't strike me as having a large population of people who are really eager to learn about the new technological advances in society.
No, not for the most part.
It's the same thing at Colette. Like, I still have this one woman in my department, my supervisor, and she's like, "Can you help me with the email?" I'm like, yes.
The biggest thing, honestly, is not the people that work at Save the Bay. They're all pretty. We have a great IT guy, Josh.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He can pretty much solve any problem that we have. And, like, people are pretty good about, like, knowing what's going on. But we have people that rent the building, and a lot of times they have a lot of trouble hooking up to, like, the projectors, like, when they're doing presentations. I had someone come up to me, because Josh wasn't there, so I'm like the next in line to like fix that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Leslie calls me on my desk and she's like, "Oh, they need help in the big room." So I go in and she's like, "We can't get my presentation on the projector." And I'm like looking at the screen and I'm looking at the TV and I'm like, "It's up there. Like the presentation's up there." And she looks at the screen. She goes, "Oh yeah, it is." I'm like, all right. And so I literally didn't touch anything, and I just walked out of there. I mean, it must have been one of those things where, like, as soon as I walked in, it started working, but it was just funny that, like,
or they just, like, had no idea what it was supposed to look like. Nope, not there.
This is the first time they saw their presentation. They're like, oh, yeah, this is it.
Oh yeah, that is
it. So I guess that's technically our people watching, because we didn't really have anything for that this week.
No, but I feel like it always works itself out, that category.
Yeah. So before we get into the episode, I just want to remind everybody, if you're listening to this podcast, we would truly, truly appreciate if you guys went and subscribed to it on iTunes or on Stitcher Radio and left us a rating. It like really helps us out with people finding us and getting to more people. So if you enjoy it and you're listening to it right now, please go and subscribe, go and leave a 5-star rating, share it with your friends, do as much as you can. Won't take you that long.
And I have the ability to repay you in honey.
So we have that. We have that going for us, so remember.
If you don't like honey, then you're not going to be happy. I'm not going to
lie. we will find you. We will give you the honey, whether you like it or not. So last week we talked about how Roseanne is getting picked up, a new Roseanne. So we're talking about some of our favorite sitcoms and which ones we'd like to see brought back. And unfortunately, while we were actually podcasting, we had somebody call in and left a voicemail. Our good buddy Derek. So he has an idea for a sitcom. So we're going to play that for you right now, and we'll talk about it a little.
Hey, guys. Just calling to put some input in about this week's episode. If I had to choose a sitcom to be remade, I would choose the ultimate sitcom, which is Seinfeld. I believe a lot of you guys would agree, especially your boy John Lynch, Seinfeld, #1 fan, that if it came back, we'd all be glued to the TV. I have it on every day. Every night I look forward to it. George's my favorite character, hands down. I think because a lot of people, and also I can relate to them in real life. We all have those George days, and they can be tough, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, he's getting pretty dark here. I'm sorry. He's getting pretty dark here. So, all right, so he wants to revive Seinfeld, which is not. I'm sorry, Derek. I had to cut you off there.
No, I didn't realize it was gonna go down that path.
There wasn't much left to the voicemail anyway. Yeah, so Derek wants to revive Seinfeld. That obviously is a great pick.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's right. It's I like the rewatchability factor. That and Friends to me are the two shows, and like The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff. But like from the '90s and 2000s, Seinfeld and Friends. I can't think of a time where it would be on and I would ever turn it off.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's those type of shows that before Netflix and streaming services, when you turn on the TV and there's episodes of Seinfeld on or there's episode of Friends on, you're not changing the channel. Like, you're just not. You're going to watch that all the way through. And that actually brings up a good point. I don't think we talked about Friends at all last week, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Because that would be a really good one. Yeah,
because that one, I watched that, Holly is a huge fan of it, but I watch it almost every night.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, because it's on Netflix now, which is the smartest move you can do, because it's literally 250 episodes.
Yeah.
So, it's such a great show.
It really is.
And the cool, I just remember Seinfeld used to be on Fox or TBS, in syndication. And they'd have it on for a solid 2-hour block.
Yeah.
6 to 8 would be Seinfeld.
Yep.
And you just watch, 4 episodes. And it was amazing. And I would kind of be sad towards the end because they would do it in chronological order. So once you're getting towards the last season, you're like, Seinfeld's going to be, they're going to have to start from scratch again.
Yeah.
Whenever on Monday. But those two would be great. The thing with Seinfeld is they kind of had their own... they kind of brought it back on Curb.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. With Curb Your Enthusiasm, there's a new season coming out, so you kind of get Seinfeld back a little bit. You get the same comedy. You don't get the same show, but you get the same comedy.
Yeah, but they had Jerry, George, Kramer, and Elaine on I think it was season 7 or 6 of Curb, and they had them in a 3 or 4 episode arc.
Yeah.
Where they kind of did, Curb is just a rated R Seinfeld or a HBO version of Seinfeld. It's the same. It's the same, just riffing on everyday stuff, except they can swear and they can get away with more than if it was on cable TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's you can't go wrong with Seinfeld. So smart pick by Derek.
Good move, Derek.
Good move.
Even though you got a little dark towards the end.
Yeah, I don't know about the light at the end. Hope he's all right.
Thanks for calling in, Derek, as always.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, very, very much appreciated. If anybody else wants to call in and talk to us about anything we're talking on the podcast or really anything else, you can call us at 401-285-8120. It's a voicemail service, so you're not going to talk to us actually. You just leave a voicemail and we'll play it on the show. We promise you we will.
Very easy, very good system. Google's they're making improvements. I don't think they're going to make a big mark on society, but I think eventually they'll get there.
Yeah, it's not like people use Google as a verb when they need to find out things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they really need to step up their shit.
Really got to with the branding.
Ryan, can you explain? So I read about this next section, this next topic we're going to talk about a little bit today, but I need a wrap up of this because I can't wrap my head around it.
It's pretty crazy. So last night. So last night on Twitter, there was a writer for this website called The Guardian. And he tweeted and just said, Greg Gianforte, who is running for the House of Representatives in Montana. So what happened was President Trump, he nominated a rep from Montana to be the Interior Secretary.
Yeah.
Which means he can't serve as both positions. So he can't be a representative for the state anymore. So in that case, the state would hold a special election, and then you would kind of go through the whole political process of getting elected, and it's down to this guy, Greg Gianforte, and I forgot who the other guy is. But anyway, the election took place today, but in Montana, like over half of their ballots that are cast in like the early election. Like you can go in and like cast your votes in. It's basically like if like you were away from college and you weren't going to be able to vote on election day.
Yeah.
You can send your vote in early type of thing. But he was doing a press conference, and this writer for The Guardian went in. They have an audio of it. It's on YouTube. And the writer went in and started asking him about, because this guy's a huge Trump supporter, and Trump has backed him in the special election. So the Guardian writer came and asked him and said, hey, the CBO score, which is like this organization that looks at healthcare things that are created, like Trump just created this new healthcare thing. So the CBO score was really poor on it. It basically said there's going to be 23 million Americans will lose health insurance by 2024. Not ideal.
Excellent.
So writers and journalists are going to all these politicians that support Trump and Trump care and saying, hey, what's your opinion on the CBO score? And the guy at first was like, yeah, leave me alone. But the journalist is like, no, like you can't just like write this off. Like, tell me what it is. Tell me what your opinion is on this. And then it's just like crashing. And apparently the guy body slammed him, and according to witnesses, like got on top of him and started like hitting him. Like, I don't know if he like punched him in the face, but beat him up. Beat up a reporter for literally asking a question and asking him to talk about the bill, which, in my opinion, isn't a good sign for the healthcare bill.
No.
So this guy would rather beat up a reporter than talk about a healthcare bill.
Honestly, maybe he thinks that if he beats him up bad enough, he'll just die from his injuries and not be covered by his ailments.
I didn't think about that, but that is a really, really good. That's a really good point.
It's like now you can get away with murder because you can just beat someone within an inch of their life and then just let the insurance company kill them.
Yeah, it's like, there you go. No, I didn't kill him. It was, he didn't have healthcare. But it's like, it's a wild story, but again, we're living in the bizarro world of, from ages 0 to 26.
Yeah.
Well, not 0, from 1 to 26. You lived in a different world than you do now. Yep. I mean, things are just that, like, you see that in other countries where, like, say Saudi Arabia. I mean, if a journalist tries to uncover corruption in Saudi Arabia, they literally hang them in the streets.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when Trump was in Saudi Arabia, I think it was like the Commerce Secretary, he like had a press conference. He's like, you don't see any protesters protesting Trump. He's making a.
It's illegal.
Well, no, because they would be hung. Like,
They're dead. They're dead. The protesters are very quiet over there in Saudi Arabia. They're very quiet.
So when I was doing a little research on this guy, again, Greg Gianforte is his name. So he's a software entrepreneur. It's in Montana. So he's like out in the Northwest. And he's just like a self-made guy, tons of money. And he's got some pretty wild views, including, which is something we texted about earlier, he doesn't believe in retirement. Which, on the surface, is not that crazy. Okay, like, you think you shouldn't necessarily have to retire at 65. You should keep working. His reasoning for not believing in retirement is because in the Bible, Noah built the ark when he was 600 years old.
That's quite literally unbelievable.
I don't even know what to say to that. Like, how someone who's on the record is quoted as saying that, on the verge of becoming someone who's in the House of Representatives.
I don't know. That's
like
just shocking.
Say. That's shocking.
Yeah, that's absolutely shocking. I was scrolling through Reddit today, and I wish I could find it again. But going off of it was after you had told me about him saying that he doesn't believe in retirement because Noah built the ark when he was 600. I saw something. I thought something happened. It was the Congress or something in the Senate, and someone asked a representative a question about. It was something about climate change or something. I don't know what. It didn't matter, right? It was a question that she should have been able to answer, and how she answered it was she said she like made this whole roundabout thing. She's like, yeah, it's really terrible, and then she ended up getting to the point where she's like, but all things will be better. Like, all you have to do is let Jesus into your life, and everything will be fine. Like, really went like left field. Just started like starting a sermon in the middle of like wherever it was, Congress or whatever. I wish I could find the clip for it, but It's crazy to me. It's like the separation of church and you can believe whatever you want. There's freedom of religion, but I don't think you should be bringing that into into lawmaking. That's kind of crazy to me.
No, that's the whole point of not having that in law.
It goes against
that influence your decisions.
Yeah, it goes against freedom of religion. Like me, I believe in retirement. I don't necessarily care that Noah was any age when he built the ark or whatever. That's insane. That's insane to me. That just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely insane. And just going back to the story a little bit, but the sheriff of this county who was in charge of determining if this guy was going to be charged with anything, he donated to his campaign.
Oh.
So I'm sure he's going to have I'm sure everything's going to be really fair and.
Yeah, I'm sure. Here's my next question. How in 2017 do we just have audio of this incident?
That's kind of what I want to know.
I really
still no video, and I guess apparently, from what I read, he was being interviewed by a local TV station at the time.
It doesn't add up.
That was his excuse for being so irritated.
I'm gonna stay woke real quick, but I think somebody got paid off.
Yeah. Well, again, wealthy software entrepreneur. The sheriff was investigating it, donated to the guy's campaign.
Absolutely. Someone got paid off, man. Think about it. If you have this TV company out in Montana, you know what I mean? This person who's out covering this.
They bought the footage right away. It had to.
It had to. It's not going to hit the internet. Maybe there wasn't any cell phones out there because I don't know how many people actually live in Montana, that are out in the middle of nowhere. But
they just don't have reception, so they don't bring their phones anywhere.
They just don't bring it. I mean, it blows my mind that there could be this type of thing that blows up this big, but there wasn't one cell phone camera in this TV camera. I mean, someone bought this footage.
Yeah. Because you're telling me that this argument doesn't start going down and everyone whips out their cell phone and videos.
Absolutely. Especially...
way.
Yeah, unless this guy's the Flash and he was able to body slam this guy and beat the shit out of him within 0.5 seconds and then get off of him, there's no way. And also, if he started beating up somebody... I don't care if the event, you see all these cell phone videos all the time on World Star where the altercation already happened, but people start recording right after. You know,
exactly.
There would be something. It doesn't make sense to me. There's only audio. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Something's fishy about this, and this might be being too woke, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. No. I think you're just the right amount of woke.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I just one final thing.
My doctor tells me otherwise.
Yeah, well, he's full of shit. He doesn't know he's talking about. But so when I was searching, when I was searching this morning on Google, I don't know why I could have just looked up the guy's name, but I'm again going back to Google, but I was Montana politician, because I figured if I typed that into Google, his name would pop up. So the first three things that pop up when you type in Montana politician, you know how Google will finish your sentence?
Yeah.
It's Montana politician shoots drone, Montana politician Navy SEAL, and Montana politician yoga pants. Talk about a wide variety of things happening.
Dude, Montana is a wild place apparently.
I guess so. Adam's actually kind of, he's a little south of there. But
he's out in that area though.
Yeah.
I'm going to be with Mike Cronin this weekend, who's a reporter in Boston, but when he started his career after college, he went out to Montana and worked at a TV station. So I'm going to see if I can get the inside scoop. Maybe we'll report back.
Yeah, I mean, see if he's heard of this guy or just insane people in Montana.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did hear about this guy. So
because if this guy he was the front runner going into last night for this seat, so he's obviously been doing stuff for a while, on the political scene. I'm
assuming he's not the front runner anymore.
No, he actually. So he's gotten over $100,000 worth of donations in just the last 24 hours.
Oh my god!
Isn't that ridiculous? But
you know what? It's gonna be the people who are religious. As soon as you hear Noah, right? It's just gonna be. They know. I mean, this guy is probably already in so many people's pockets because he's a religious guy.
And that's the thing. He said this Noah quote a while ago during the campaign.
Yeah. Well, people already know. There's probably nothing this guy can do to turn them off.
I mean, if you're supporting him after he's claiming that Noah was 600 when he built the ark and that's why retirement, isn't real.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. I mean, then you trust him with anything. But I think we should follow this story closely because I think you're right. I think there's a little bit more here going on. So the average nobodies are on it.
Yeah, something's coming out. Something is gonna come out. There's gonna be some. There's always footage. There's always footage. Okay, so that's what I have to say about that. The next story is still a little troubling, but it's also very funny and like kind of brings levity to after this talk of politicians beating up each other. So Alamo Drafthouse in Texas, they're this cinema, and I've told you about these guys a million times. I go to these theaters when I go to South by Southwest. They're amazing theaters. They have like awesome beer on tap. You can drink and eat during the movie. It's awesome. They're known for doing these screenings of movies, new movies. So sometimes they'll show old movies and they'll do sing-alongs if it's like a musical, or if it's like a really like popular like cult classic, they'll do like quote-alongs. So they encourage you to like shout out and yell to the screen and like say the quotes during the movies, which is awesome. They always do things like this. So for Wonder Woman, that's coming out next week, June 2nd, they did an all-female showing of it. That basically they are encouraging like people to like dress up like Wonder Woman and come and show up and like have a good time. Like they did one showing of it. There was all female. Ryan, what do you think happened?
I have a feeling that men, typically very in touch with themselves, don't really get offended very easily, especially ones on social media who can just say whatever they want whenever they want. I have a feeling they took it in stride. They were, happy that this comic book figure, who's been a very important figure to woman for probably 50, whenever she was created,
over 50 years.
Yeah. I'm sure they just like, you know what? Good for Alamo Drafthouse. Good for Wonder Woman. It's going to be good for moms can take their little girls there. Grandparents can take their grandchildren there and just have a good time. I'm sure they took it in stride and nothing came of it.
Shockingly, that's not what happened. Men specifically, were outraged, and they were like, well, where's the men-only screening of whatever movies? It's like, why? Why does this need to be the stance you take? Why? It's not like they're taking the movie away from you. You could still see the movie. You could still see it. Why? Why is this a thing?
Like, this is just this one specific screening you can't go to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Well, now, did you see what Alamo did?
Yeah, they doubled down. They added another one.
That's how you do it.
I love Alamo Drafthouse. The owner, is Tim something. I'm looking up his name right now, but he's always the Tim League. So he's the guy who started, and actually 20 years today, he started Alamo Drafthouse. He always does these funny things where, like, do you remember that last week there was that guy who sued his date for texting during the movie?
Yes. So
he was going to sue this girl for $17 and change or whatever it cost. It wasn't at an Alamo Drafthouse. It was just at some other theater. But in order to, he always puts out these funny press releases. He's like, to not clog up the law in America, the judiciary system. Did I say that right? Judiciary?
Yeah,
judicial system in America. He's like, I'm willing to pay this guy the 17 and change, in which he did. He just gave the kid the money, which is hilarious. Like, that's great. So he doubled down. He added another female only, which honestly, the first one sold out immediately, so a lot of people got turned away. So they were probably going to add one anyway. They were probably going to add another one anyway. So it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy. I have this big long quote for it, but I'll read it right now. So the most iconic superheroine in comic book history finally has her own movie. And what better way to celebrate than with an all-female screening? Apologies, gentlemen, but we're embracing our girl power and saying no guys allowed for one special night at the Alamo Ritz. So that's the gist of it. I'm not going to go through the whole rest of it, but that's the little press release from the Alamo Drafthouse, and that's the thing that people got angry at. And it was funny because the Tim League, I think, he responded and said, he's like, we don't generally do male only screenings, but we did show the Entourage movie a few years back, which I thought was hilarious that he said that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I love everything they do. So, and it's just, it's ridiculous. Like, just going back to, like, really, you can't miss out on this one screening. I mean,
yeah, it was stupid. It was such a stupid thing for like what a ridiculous thing. Like that's like I'm trying to find a good analogy, but it's like you still have screenings you can go see. They're not taking away Wonder Woman from you. You can still go see this movie. Like it doesn't affect you. It does not affect you at all. So I don't know. But speaking of girl power, Netflix has a show coming out. You wanna take this one?
yes. I mean, I literally cannot wait for this. But it's called Glow, and it's based off of the actual show Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling that was in the late '80s, and it was a woman's only wrestling promotion. They did it in the late '80s, and they just wanted to be different. They created this wrestling promotion that ended up being so, kind of not it. I don't really want to use the word revolutionary because it never really necessarily caught on in other promotions. But it was really a cool way to feature these women. One of them was actually, I don't know if you remember Ivory from the Attitude Era.
Yes.
Lisa Moretti. But she was one of the original cast members because it was like a television show. And they had all these crazy storylines, and it was really cool. So to see Genji Cohen and a couple of the other minds behind Orange is the New Black putting it together for a Netflix series, really cool. Allison Brie's going to be in the lead. Mark Maron's going to be another lead. I think it's going to be a really cool series. The trailer looks absolutely fantastic.
The trailer looks so good. It looks fantastic. I can't wait for this. And all you had to say was, I told you, I texted you this earlier. All you had to say was, creators of Orange is the New Black are making a female wrestling show, like a wrestling Netflix show. And that's all I needed to hear. It looks hilarious. It looks like it's going to be great. It's going to have like the same it's a similar feel to Orange is the New Black, honestly. It kind of feels like that. So
yeah, I mean it's literally, I think it's like 3 of the producers.
Yeah.
So with Genji Cohen, who is the creator, she's like kind of the main mind behind it. So
Netflix is absolutely killing it. They cannot be stopped right now. They cannot be stopped. I can't imagine a scenario where Netflix at all like loses a step. Like they just they're constantly making new movies. They're constantly like doing their shows, renewing their shows for new seasons, coming up with new stuff. It's like it's amazing that they have this much resources to get this stuff done. And the quality that they do it too. That's the other big thing. It's like they're not making these like this is not Sci-Fi Channel movies. These are like cinema quality TV shows. So it's just amazing to me. I mean, if you look at Netflix's body of work, if you look at what they've done, so you have first of all you have like the hugely popular Stranger Things, which they've already like as soon as the series like everybody binge watched it, as soon as it got done, they immediately re-upped it for season 2 because that's obviously a no-brainer. And then you have shows like Orange is the New Black, like we just talked about. I think it's going on its 4th season, which is it's a fantastic show. You have Marty Scorsese coming on with The Irishman. He has De Niro. He has Pesci involved with that, and I think a few others. Like that's amazing. And who knows down the road, like this might be the way to get your movie made, like easily, like and do it the way that you want to do it. You take your script, you take your production budget, and you take it to Netflix, and you say, I want to do this way. You have so much freedom. It's absolutely incredible. This is the future, and I love it, and it's so exciting. And it's not going to be a monopoly where Netflix is going to get stale because there's so many good streaming services out there. Like we were talking about a few weeks ago, Hulu has a lot of great content, so they're competing with Hulu. They're competing with Amazon Prime. Look at Amazon. Amazon came up with Manchester by the Sea last year. Oscar-nominated movie, Oscar-winning movie. It's incredible. So Netflix is killing it. This Glow looks so good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this is coming out. I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Brad Pitt's movie, which I think is coming out tomorrow, War Machine, the war movie, obviously. But he had an interview with the director, and they said, they even asked him, they said, why do you think War Machine, why do you think, War Machine was made by Netflix? And he said, because big studios can't take these risks.
Yeah.
Like, they can't take a risk on, is the movie going to be good? They're going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Wonder Woman and Star Wars. And, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
it's true.
I'm just thankful that we have this other option of a Netflix or a Hulu or an Amazon.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, my top shows are these original series that were created by these streaming services.
Yeah,
so,
you're absolutely right. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think Glow's gonna. I don't know. I think Glow's, and it's it might run into Game of Thrones, but the cool thing about Netflix is it doesn't matter. Like,
doesn't matter.
If you have a boring weekend planned, you can watch this whole series, this whole first season in a weekend. So it's not like, it's got to compete with the Sunday night shows or whatever. But I think it's going to be really cool. It's smart, obviously, by Netflix by putting it over the summer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Then it's going to be one of those things where, like, I know Holly and I sometimes will come home on a Tuesday or Wednesday night and say, none of our shows are on. Like, what should we be doing? And then, hopefully she's going to want to watch this with me. If not, I'll just have to strap her to the couch and
force her, like Clockwork Orange, like stick her eyelids open and strap her down.
Yes, exactly that.
I was listening to a Bill Burr interview today with Chris Hardwick on the Nerdist podcast.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, so he does that show F is for Family, the animated show on Netflix, which is hilarious. So funny. It only had 6 episodes last season, but it's coming out, I believe, May 30th, the new season. And it's going to have 10 episodes. And he's like, if you didn't watch last year, you got 16 episodes to watch now. Which is so weird because that's not what you say about, like, other TV shows. Like, it's so different. Like, you can binge everything.
Yeah, you just approach it much differently.
Yeah, totally. So, and he was like, he's not offended at all. He's like, and if you haven't seen it yet, like, now you have 16 episodes to watch. Like, he was just being truthful about it. He's like, now they're all on Netflix, and you get to watch them all together and enjoy the whole thing. I'll probably watch the 6 from last year too. Like, it's a really funny show. So that's coming out at the end of this month as well.
Nice. It must like take the pressure off some of the showmakers and stuff and stars.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. So. All right, so speaking of TV, let's get into our TV club. Let's talk about Archer. So we watched the first 5 episodes. Ryan, who's your favorite character from Archer?
I love Sterling Archer. He's hysterical.
Yeah, he's really funny.
It's one of those shows where, even though it's animated, it's like a different kind of animated. Like, it's just very well done. It's almost like graphic novel quality.
Yeah, totally, like a comic book.
Just like the camaraderie between the characters. And just like the little one-liners back and forth.
Yeah,
it's funny. Like, I find myself laughing out loud at it.
Yeah, John H. Benjamin, right? That's the guy who did Sterling Archer. H. John Benjamin, right? I knew it was. Yeah, it's a strange name. He's Bob from Bob's Burgers as well. And honestly, I think half the comedy comes from his voice. Yeah,
and it's weird because you wouldn't think of like, well, he's not really suave, but like a handsome secret agent. And then it's like, here's the voice actor we're casting, Like, cast like a Chris Pratt or, somebody like that, and you have this really dry, monotone voice, but it works. It works so well.
He's got a great voice. It's like, it's so not iconic, but it's very, like, you'd pinpoint him from a lineup. Like, a lot of times you have to think of who, like, if you watch an animated movie, you're like, who's the voice of that? It sounds familiar. It's like, no. That's H. John Benjamin. Like, you know who that is. That's Bob from Bob's Burgers. That's Sterling Archer. You know who he is. Yeah. So I thought it's really funny. I think one of my favorite. I think it was the first episode when they're talking about his spending allowance at the agency. That was really, really funny. How he kept trying to get out of conversation. He just like change the subject and walk out of the room. It was really funny.
And now, like, their command, like, their spy agency is called ISIS.
Yeah, which is funny because I think this show was created way before ISIS was, like, hot in the streets, you know what I mean?
Right, because it's already, they're like 7 seasons in or something?
Yeah.
So this was 2010. I mean, ISIS was not, I don't want to say it was a thing, but it wasn't, like, in the news like it is now.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a funny joke. Like, it would be like if there was a show made tomorrow and they called their spy agency ISIS. Like, it would be like, tongue-in-cheek. Like, it would be totally tongue-in-cheek, and it would be fun, like, semi-funny. But this is, like, way before that.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of, I don't know. I was like, because they keep saying it. Like, they say the word ISIS a lot. And I'm like, that's either like the craziest coincidence, which I think it must be because yeah, like I said, I don't think they did. But yeah, I love is Woodhouse the butler?
Yes.
He's I was watching the one. I think it was episode 4. Or no, it was 5 when when Archer has to go and try and like make the
Cuban guy, the Cuban or Puerto Rican guy.
Yeah, and then one of the 2 guys they meet down there who end up being spies for Castro. One of them is voiced by Thomas Lennon, who's Lieutenant Dangle.
Oh yeah.
And they like love Woodhouse, and like they do the they're like, so what'd you do to Woodhouse? They're like, yeah, we tied him up. And they cut to that scene, and they're like tying him up. They're like, we are so sorry. We had such a good time with you. And he's like, can I keep the clothes? And he's like, of course you can keep the clothes. It's just, I don't know. I think it's really funny.
The opening scene on the first episode when Woodhouse is like fake torturing Sterling Archer.
Yeah.
When he's just making fun of him because he can't keep the same accent. I thought that was funny too.
That was Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep watching it. I mean, I don't know how consistently.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a good like kind of new go-to because again, Netflix. I mean, you can just kind of throw it on whenever you want, leave off where you know.
And 23-minute episodes or whatever it is with commercials. What?
Zip through them because I mean, even like I'm working tonight. I'm working overnight till 4 a.m. So I mean, if I get into a lull, I'll throw a couple episodes on.
Perfect. Yeah, it is really funny, and I like Mallory Archer, right? His mom is that her name?
She's very funny.
Yeah, who I don't know the actress's name, but she's Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development.
Judy Greer.
No, Judy Greer is
Judy Greer's the other one, right?
She's also in Arrested Development, but
I know who Judy Greer is. Yep.
Yeah,
right.
Judy Greer is. I mean, I know her.
Sure.
What is her name?
Jessica Walter is the one that plays Mallory Archer.
Oh, okay. Yes. So she's she's the one who, she's the mom from Arrested Development. And she's hilarious in that show.
She's very good.
Yeah, and it's a very similar character, honestly, a very similar character. I think Mallory Archer has a little more empathy than Lucille Bluth does.
I don't think Lucille Bluth has any empathy.
No, yeah, that's right. I guess you have to have more empathy than none.
Yeah.
If you're anybody else, so. But anyway, so that, I mean, it was funny. I think you're right. I'm gonna keep watching Archer. It's a really funny show. My brother turned me on to it, and then I knew I would like it. It was one of those shows where I knew I would watch it and I knew I would enjoy it, but I just never got around to it. So I'm glad we did.
Absolutely, I agree.
So for next week, TV Club, we switched up TV Club a bit. So I think we're gonna stick with American Gods and Better Call Saul for the rest of their seasons. Is that right? That's what we talked about?
Yeah, I think that's a good. Now Better Call Saul is off on Monday due to the holiday.
Okay.
But we haven't really talked about the last 2 weeks, so we can kind of go off. There's a lot happened the last 2 weeks.
Yes, so we can definitely talk about that for next week.
I don't know. I don't know if Starz like abides by the holiday rules or not.
I'm not sure either. Honestly, they haven't even abided by their own like release schedule. I still don't understand when that comes out. I still don't understand when American Gods goes on. I don't.
Because you watched it like earlier than.
Yeah, I watched it before. It says 8:35, but I watched it at like 4:00. I don't understand. I don't understand it.
That's odd.
It was odd. It was very odd. So I don't know if I don't know if the people who subscribe to the streaming service, because I'm actually using my parents' Starz like streaming package. It's not technically the channel. It's like Netflix for Starz, and how HBO Go does that thing.
Yeah.
So maybe like if you subscribe to it, you get shows earlier. I have no idea. That's the only thing I can think of. So.
It is odd, but hey, I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. So, American Gods and Better Call Saul, we'll talk about that next week for TV Club. Again, call in if you watched Archer and you want to talk about it, or if you want to talk about American Gods and Saul, 401-285-8120. Call and leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on the next show. Try not to get deep and dark like Derek did. Keep it light. Keep it light and airy.
Maybe don't mention the phrase "the light at the end of the tunnel."
It gets better. Just avoid all those phrases. But yeah, that's it for this week, guys. And this is episode 33, Ryan. 33.
I love it.
I feel like we just when did we jump back on and start doing it regularly again? Do you remember what episode it was?
I think it was, according to the Google, I think it was like 22, 23, something like that.
Nice. So we got a few under our belts now. We're really rolling. I love this new format. I love this new format. So, all right, Ryan. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your shift. I don't know how you're gonna stay up until 4 a.m. That's you're a trooper.
I'll let you know a little secret.
Tell me.
Cocaine. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say Colette doesn't pay you enough.
They don't. No. But hey, thanks everybody for listening. Matt, thank you as always. It was a solid episode tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Very solid episode. If you're one of those people that were complaining about the female only Wonder Woman theater showing, I'm gonna need you to remove the stick from your ass and really just calm down. That's my one.
Better yet, call in and leave us a voicemail and defend yourself.
Please do. Please defend yourself.
I want to hear something that makes sense to me. It's going to take a lot because it doesn't make sense at all. But you know what? Call in and defend yourself. Again, try to keep the darkness out of it. But I don't know. That might be too much to ask. But
yeah. All right, guys. That's it. Ryan, thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.